Crawford. I'd like to thank everybody for being here this evening. This is a true honor and privilege, and I can't tell you how much it means to me. I would like to take a moment and indulge with my personal thing. Larry Wood and I have been together a long, long time, and we just lost a dear friend 2 weeks ago that's a vet. And I want to bring up the fact that I'm a vet, and you all should always take the time in your lives to think about us, because without us, this country wouldn't be here. Dear friend, his name was Steve Pennington, and he was a vet, and I miss him every minute. So, Larry Wood is an Early Times member. Jake, Greg Sharp, we're all Early Times. We have had a great, great run of just driving the hell out of our cars, sorry. When I first met him, he had a Model A with a camper on the back. How many hot rodders had a camper on the back of their hot rod? Larry didn't follow anybody's expert, he just did what he wanted. And I bring this up. There's a famous racing team, they always have initials. So NART is North American Racing Team, and it was Ferrari. Dan Gurney had All-American Racers. Well, Larry Wood and his buddies had BORT. That's Balls Out Racing Team. So Larry's never done anything just regular. He just always did what he wanted to do. And he's been blessed to be able to make all these millions and trillions of just incredible fun times for children and people all over the world. So we cannot thank him enough, and thank you for being our friend and longtime partner in the Early Times. If you needed anything in the Early Times, artwork, Larry was there for all of us. All our posters, everything. He just continually gave. That's who he is. He loves giving. He loves taking the time out of anything and everything to pursue and tell everybody what we do here at this building. Build and love vehicles. This time I'm going to get Greg Sharp to please stand up, and he's going to finish this induction. Lifelong friend, Greg Sharp. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dan. There is probably no one in this room that hasn't been affected by a Larry Wood design. At the last count, there were 4 billion with a B Hot Wheels sold. So chances are pretty good that you or your siblings or your sons or your grandsons collected and played with Hot Wheels. Like most of us, Larry's got his start with hot rodding by reading magazines. In his case, it was a late 50s issue of Hot Rod that his father had confiscated in a classroom. He brought it home, and Larry was instantly transposed. He knew immediately what he was going to do with his life. He later went on to Art Center College and graduated with a major in automotive design. He was hired at Ford Motor Company in Detroit, and after a couple of those cold Michigan winters, he decided he needed to go home again where he could drive his hot rods most every day. After a slight off the center episode designing aircraft interiors, he was hired by Mattel in 1969, who had started their Hot Wheels program in 1967. Larry's first car was called the Tri-Baby, and today, over 50 years later, it's still coveted by and collectible by hardcore Hot Wheels enthusiasts. Larry designed, as you can imagine, hundreds of cars. Some of his early ones were the Chop 49 Merc, the Purple Passion 51 Merc. Some of the cars were made into real cars and vice versa, like he had a Hot Wheels version of the 1964 AMBR winner, the King T, and he also did a collector set of Boyd Connington cars. In 2009, Larry was inducted in the initial class of the Die-Cast Hall of Fame. He later went on to produce more models, including the Ramblin' Wrecker, which was a tow truck. And in typical of Larry's sense of humor, he put his real phone number on the side of the truck. So it'll be interesting to find out how many calls for tow truck service that Larry got after that.
Still the same number.
It's the same number.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, and he's always signed his name as Dan was saying, L. Wood, which of course you read it as Elwood. So Elwood became his nickname, and there was also an Elwood series of Hot Wheels cars in the thousands. Now, it's been said that no one on earth has designed more cars than Larry Wood. It's also been said that Larry designed more cars in 1 year than all the other stylists and designers design in their entire careers. In 2023, Larry was inducted into the Automotive Hall of Fame, besides such notables as Henry Ford, Walter P. Chrysler, and Juan Fangio, yeah, thanks, and Ferdinand Porsche and Wally Parks. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce you with an honor to the newest member of the Grand National Roadster Show Hall of Fame, Mr. Hot Wheels, Larry Wood. Okay,
Wow, that's a heck of a piece.
thank you. Yeah. Right here, get up there.
Thank you so much.
Yay!
It's really special to us.
Wow, Craig just took my whole talk. It's going to surprise you with all the things that I did. Now you already know. Well, thanks to Dan and Greg and the whole committee. I really appreciate it. This is a real honor because you're my people. You know, I've been going to other Hall of Fames, but this is it, man. This is the people I know and respect. So I was born in Connecticut in a small town, and it's so small it still only has one stop sign. And there was no such thing as the hot rods or anything. And as you heard, my dad brought home a hot rod magazine one day, and that was the end of it. My goal from that point was build hot rods, draw cars, live in California, and cruise the beach with a hot chick. So I had to get started. So first I tried to go to Art Center, and they took me, which was a real surprise because I just had quick pencil sketches and stuff. I went to California. Oh, by the way, I've had a hot rod from 15 years old every day of my life. So I went to Art Center school, and wow, that was fantastic. They taught me how to draw cars and everything. And of course, I needed a car in California, so I found a Model A highway with a flathead in it, and that was my car for 3 years. So I got out of Art Center and went to Detroit. Now, Detroit was completely different from what I expected. I wanted to design a full car right away, of course, but I was one of the small peons that just showed up, and so they gave me door handles and grills and taillights and things like that. But that was okay. They gave me a nice fat paycheck, and I took my fat paycheck, went out and bought a '63 split window Corvette. So, you know, in the Ford parking lot, you had to park in the very back. It was the muscle car era, and I got into Mustang Studios. I snuck downstairs and saw the GT40. Oh, just really unbelievable type cars. But the thing about Detroit was the parties. This is the '60s, man. It's the Beatles and the Stones, and boy, did we have some great parties. And in one of those parties, I ran into this hot chick, you know, so things are looking up. And Detroit was great. I really enjoyed it. But the Detroit riots hit. That was the end of our parties because they shot up the party house. And then the next thing that happened is another winter came. You can't drive your hot rods, you can't drive your Corvette. So I said, that's it. And oh, the mamas and papas sang, you know, what was it, California Dreaming. That was it, man, I'm going. So we got married on New Year's Eve. 3 days later, I hopped in my Corvette and came to California. Got a job, as he said, working in the aircraft industry, and just to pay the bills and keep building my hot rods. And one day I got invited to a party. I'm doing pretty good at parties. And so this guy at the party said, I work at Mattel and they're looking for somebody to draw toy cars. And I thought, yeah, I'll draw toy cars until I can find a real job. Well, at Ford, it was all three-piece suits and ties and everything else. You walked into Mattel and it was like the house of hippies. Man, people were just dressed cool and everybody was really neat, and of course the girls all thought they were Barbie. So, and then the executives were on their hands and knees working and playing with Hot Wheels on the ground. I thought, man, this is a great place to work. So I worked there for a long time, and so I'm now in California, got a hot rod, cruising the beach with my hot chick. So I'm looking, things are going really good. So I worked there for about 20 years by myself, off and on with a couple other guys. And Hot Wheels, a couple times almost didn't make it because they expect a toy to last like 3 years. And then the sales kind of went down, and I did like 6 cars a year, and it wasn't much going on, but it was fun, getting played in toys all the time. About 20 years into it, the kids grew up and started buying Hot Wheels for their kids, and then they'd buy one for themselves, and they'd start collecting, and pretty soon the collecting thing started to grow, and Mattel Hot Wheels went nuts. New designers, and some of them are here tonight, came in, and the whole thing just blew up, and I was lucky to get the collector line, and I got a chance to meet like Boyd, and I got Barris, and I'd go out and I'd measure the cars and meet these cool people, and they were the people that I respected with the stuff they were building. So it was really the way to go for it. So lasted 50 years there, and finally I said, time to retire. So I built my dream garage filled with hot rods and Hot Wheels, and it's been fantastic. The designers at Mattel, these guys over there, this table, they're making $6 million a week. They like 100 cars they do. I did like 6 cars. So they've taken it way off the top end. And by the way, we beat Barbie a couple years ago. So what I was most proud of course, is that some kid is going to open up a Hot Wheel and he's going to put it in his hand, and it's going to be like me reading that Hot Rod magazine for the first time. He's going to look at this car and he's going to say, I want to do something with this car, and hopefully he'll end up in the hot rod hobby and be here at this table someday. Thank you.